Welcome to the Strpd Club, the podcast that strips away the noise and dives deep into the real, raw conversations every man needs to share.
Welcome back. This is season 2, episode 4. I'm here, and this is the Strpd Club, so welcome. And if you've been listening this far, you already know I've been through some stuff, and it's been a lot, even just kind of penning it to get it to this point where, I'm able to share with you guys. And you would also know that this isn't a podcast for pretending. It's a space where men who are ready to unlearn, to unpack, to feel. Today, I want to talk about something I used to run from, something I avoided for years, because though it made me feel less than a man, until life humbled me and I realized the truth. So this one is called Softness Isn't Weak. And as much as I feel like putty when I'm sitting here, let me say it plain. For most of my life, I thought I was being soft. I thought being soft meant being weak. So growing up, softness was never kind of like what I was about. Crying was for girls. Talking about feelings, that was a sign that you weren't built for the real world. And in a Caribbean household, you could be anything, but too emotional, nah. That would get shut down real fast. So I became what I was taught to be: strong, focused, unbreakable, unshakable, and basically emotionally silent. But here's the truth no one talks about. That kind of strength eventually breaks you. Because real life is heavy. Heartbreak, heavy. Fatherhood, heavy. And the divorce, betrayal, disappointment, trying to hold it together for everyone else, guess what? Heavy too. And when you've been taught to kind of like bottle it all up, to smile through pain, to perform, strength without processing reality, that's not power, that's pressure. And pressure is bust pipe, as we say in the Caribbean. It actually, when it's ignored, it eventually explodes, in layman's terms. So for me, that explosion, it came quietly, through anxiety, through sleepless nights, through the doctors telling me that I was clinically depressed, through moments where I'd be surrounded by people but still feel completely alone. It was in those moments that I realized I wasn't strong, I was numb. A numbness that doesn't make you a man, it makes you a ticking time bomb. So I started asking different questions. What if being soft isn't about weakness? What if it's about awareness? What if softness is what lets you breathe deeply again? What if softness is where healing begins? So I had to relearn everything. I had to learn that it's okay to cry in front of your kids. That apologizing doesn't make you less of a leader. It just actually makes you more human. That admitting you're tired doesn't make you lazy, it makes you real. And that letting people in, it doesn't make you vulnerable to harm. It actually makes you open to love. See, I used to associate strength with how much I could carry. Now, I associate my strength with how much I'm willing to release. Because that's what real strength is. It's knowing when to put the armor down. It's knowing when to ask for help. It's knowing that silence doesn't make you noble. Silence makes you isolated. So I want to speak to every man listening who's been holding it all in. Let it out. Get it out. They say go to therapy. They told me sometimes journal. I find it by going to church, you know, by myself, sitting in where I find that peace. Pray it out loud. Just sit with your feelings, even if they scare you. And let your boys know what you're going through. Because I promise you, you're not soft for feeling, you're not weak for crying, and you're not broken for needing time to heal. You're human. And being a whole man means making space for those soft parts too. I've been told that my softness now makes me stronger than I've ever been. I love deeper. I listen more intentionally. I move slower, but with more purpose. And I don't let pride keep me from peace anymore. That's the freedom that I want for each and every one of you listening, women included. Not just survival. I want wholeness. And this is a strip club where we redefine what it means to be a man. Where we let go of the old and make room for what's real. And next week, we're going to be talking about the biggest question I've ever had to ask myself after everything I've been through. How do you know it's love? In that episode, we're going to open some wounds that maybe bring a little clarity. So until then, I want you to stay open, my friends. Stay honest. And you already know, stay stripped.